All right, welcome out Paramotor STOL Classics Day 4-ish. My name's Bobby Sutherland. I'm here with James Jennison. We are getting ready this morning for the speed task of this week's events. James, what are we looking forward to in today's event?
We're looking forward to seeing these pilots.
Start over.
We're going to see if these pilots can even leave the field today because the conditions right off the ground are rowdy. We've got a pilot right now, the fastest that I've seen, average speed of 33 miles an hour, capping on a trike. He's up testing the wind right now, and he is about dead stopped at an altitude of maybe 300 feet. So we're looking at conditions that are blowing up there 70, 80, 90% of a pilot's total forward available speed. So some of these folks are going to be creeping into the wind and just crawling. Wow. That is...
Well, let's go through the rules of today's event. In the speed task today, what are the goals of these pilots?
So we have a speed course in front of us that is about 700 feet wide, and there's two parts to this test, three parts to this task. Part one, survive. You have to make it around this loop in blue. Two, you have to avoid the red zones. 50% penalty on your score, even if you do it in a fabulous time. And third part is accuracy. They have all estimated how long it will take them to complete this course and how close they are to that declared time is going to minimize deductions. Any variance from your stated time is a penalty against your final placement.
And you were trying to do some measurements before this event on what this track looks like. You were saying it's a guesstimate of around 700 feet wide.
Yeah, the total width on this track is about 700 feet. That has been described as 4 lanes of traffic with a median.
That seems like a lot of space.
And it would be if you had something to follow. This course is going to be one where you don't have much for ground reference. Yes, there are, oh look, there's a patch of trees, but there's trees everywhere out here. It follows almost no natural features. You get a road for a small bit.
And not to mention these pilots are going to be looking down at their phone to try to stay in that course.
These constant curves are going to be totally manageable if you had light winds under 5, 6, maybe even 10 miles an hour. But
and what are we dealing with today?
Every foot of altitude they gain is going to make this task more difficult because who do we just have take off? Wallow. Wallow just took off. His last flight, his average speed was, I believe, 24 or 25 miles an hour. And if he goes up another 100 feet, he's going to be in winds that are going 24 or 25 miles an hour.
Going to make this course a little bit difficult.
Yeah, so he's going to be on the deck when he's headed into the wind on our section that heads to the northeast. We've got our wind coming from the top right of the screen diagonally down. And so on this section, he's going to spend an extra 10, 15 minutes probably just to struggle to where he can turn and go downwind. And making a turn when you have to account for the wind continuously pushing you, it's called crab angle in aviation. The direction you're pointed versus the direction you're going. And the crab angle is going to be intense and rapidly changing for these pilots. So
currently 2 pilots in the sky.
He's headed off to the northeast. He's making progress. That's the toughest direction this morning. And so step 1, he's going to fight to the target about 5 or so miles away, I believe. Does that look like 5 miles to you? It could be.
Yeah, roughly. I haven't been flying here, so let's see if we could get into the live tracking.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the pilots at the moment. Oh, there we are.
So we got Jim and Scott on the ground, Wallow's in the sky, along with Cappy, who's one of our trike pilots.
Cappy is the guy I'm most excited for because in looking at all of our competitors' previous flights, Cappy had the highest average speed at 33 miles an hour. We saw a lot. Low end was 24 miles an hour. Now, that does not factor in the pilot's use of prevailing winds on those flights, but you have to come back to where you started, so most of the time it averages out. Looks like we have Nick Fazikis warming up his trike, and we have James Sutherland about ready to go. These trikes were given the first clearance for launch this morning. It's been, well, everybody was cleared to launch at the same time, but they said, hey, trikes first if you can, if you please, if you're ready. It's a open division. Trikes and wheel launch are going to be scored the same, but the different tasks have awarded different pilots based on the different characteristics. They didn't do great in STOL. They didn't do fabulous on the spot landing, but the extra speed, the extra weights on the trikes allows them to penetrate into headwinds more effectively, so they're going to be less affected by this wind. And that fact that they've got wheels means weight is less of a factor, which means the fact that they're heavier means they're going faster. So I would not be surprised if they can stay in the track that one of these sets of wheels is going to be fighting for the top. Nick Fazikis on his Luna from BGD.
Got the lights cranking this morning.
We are still before sunrise, and so lights are always a plus. Being able to be seen is a safety factor that we all take very seriously. So they are.
Foot launch pilot. That might be Scott.
Jim Simard.
They're Canadian.
With the orange Charger. He's excited to fly. These pilots haven't flown in 2 days, and even though these are not what you call friendly flying conditions, they were ready to jump back up in the sky. So the call time this morning was 6:30. They've been messaging each other constantly since about 5:30 this morning.
They've been really trying to dissect these rules and understand the rules.
Is he flying? They've just flown straight through no-fly zones. Fantastic. 50% deduction on your score. It doesn't matter how fast you went now. You just lost half your points. They didn't bother to check the no-fly zones before they launched. Is that right? Or is this for a different task?
Yeah, let's hit the trophy
Let's
at the top.
Let's verify that that's the same task. That looks like it was for the treasure hunt. The speed course has different no-fly zones. Oh, thank goodness. Oh,
saved by the mistakes.
That's great. So as you can see, the map changes depending on what task they're doing. It's not the same thing. This is always evolving. Now, these points show that they're 25 points each. These are not scoring points. These are guidance markers to help you because you need to hit the start of the course in this circle. So just waypoints when you're looking at your phone, when you're making tracks, trying to get to your destination. Pilots in the sky are already too high. We can see they're losing half the ground speed. If you're pointed 45 degrees into the wind and 45 degrees towards where you're going, you're making half the progress that you would like to. A perfect crosswind being 90 degrees. And then you're just, if you're pointed the direction you want to go, then you're just getting pushed sideways. But to maintain your track, you have to crab into the wind. And the higher you go, the faster it gets. So the fact that these pilots are anything over the power lines means they are incurring a penalty on how long it'll take them. Wallow is getting blown the wrong direction. Traditionally, height is your friend. Height is safety. Now, all of these pilots are flying in a place that even 100 feet off the ground, there will be safe places to land. But these pilots have been flying and training themselves, even unknowingly, for tasks like this. And height is almost always your friend, and they are almost never flying in conditions like this. So they're up there battling against their own training in order to get low, in order to get progress. We don't have a ton of action. We've got Wallow absolutely parked. Can we click on him? I'd love to be able to click on him and we can see that he's not going anywhere. There's... Who's taking off now? Oh, that's Luigi smoking a breakfast cigarette. We got Lee in orange. We got a beautiful overview of the course. We've got half a dozen wings lined up and pilots preparing for departure. Gudio on his way to clip into his roadster and hit the course on his trike. Oh boy, poor Jim's getting blown sideways. These tracks are going to be interesting to see as they battle across the landscape. And if they're going to be able to stay where they want to. Wallow making some progress. 16 miles an hour of speed. That's not 16 miles an hour in the direction he wants to go, but he's moving along. Our first pilot off the ground, Cappy, cruising along at 245 feet off the ground, is making 22 miles an hour of progress. We got some pilots popping up on the board here. I would not be surprised if I see these pilots go up and then descend as they realize what it takes to get where they're going. Not a lot of content available this morning. We've got just 3 pilots up in the sky. We've got a couple of folks ready to take off. And then we'll watch their progress via gaggle.
Looks like we got a couple more pilots setting up to take off.
I believe that is Scott Julius preparing for launch here. He's got the red, white, and orange. I don't remember. Is that a spider? Feels like it could be a spider. I got gas right there. We've got a conversation going on about petrol and how much we'll need in order to make this whole loop. And the answer is a full tank of gas is your friend in this instance. Normally we fly with only as much gas as we need because weight is your enemy. But in these conditions, it'll allow you to move faster. If you take the same equipment and add weight, it'll go faster. Scott Julius.
On that spider from Ozone.
Looking clean. That was a nice launch.
Something tells me he's going to have a tough time cutting that wind with the spider this morning.
I would expect these pilots to be trimmed partway out and or using speed bar. Yes, this is a race. Fastest wins, but there's also, you have to get back and you have to be able to fly accurately, which for most pilots you can't go full speed and full accuracy. So we've got trimmers that affect the profile of the wing to flatten it, make it more sleek, generates less lift, but it is safer up until something goes wrong, and then it's far more exciting than it has any right to be. So they're going to be balancing their need for safety and how fast they can fly. I don't think anybody's going to be pushing the safety envelope with these high winds.
I think we already are pushing it, the whole thing.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. These are not fun flying conditions, but they are safe enough for competition conditions. There was active conversations going along, pilots this morning discussing if it was going to be safe enough to fly. I believe there are a couple of pilots who have opted for their own personal safety to stay on the ground today. With the experience they have in the conditions that they have had, one of the popular phrases is, the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Yeah, I think another one is that you can always, taking off is optional, but landing is definitely not.
Taking off is optional, landing is required.
And it's a little bit deceiving here out on the field, James. If you look at the sock, it's definitely laying down, but we know that those winds are gusting up high, so we can see these pilots are struggling just to even get away from the field.
Actually, they have definitely died, because we've got Scott. He's making fantastic progress across the sky already, which is weird as anything. It usually gets faster as you go up. We saw that for sure this morning. But all of a sudden there seems to be a serious lee in the wind, which is unexpected, and unexpected is unexplained, and that is uncertainty. So this is going to be causing questions of their own. We got a gravity wing coming up here. Gravity, we've got flown by 2 pilots in this competition. Kaylee, but that does not look like her. And we have Marcos? No. He'll tell us in a minute. Give me a gaggles. Don't expect me to know everything off the top of my head. And Gudio on the Roadster. Taking off. Yeah, the wind has died down. No question about it. That gravity isn't going 50 miles an hour downwind the way it would have even 20 minutes ago. So we've got some changes in these layers just above the treetops that these pilots are going to have to account for in mid-flight with minimal reference points to give them feedback on what's happening. About to take off, we have Whitney Horkey. That Atom 80 of hers has been spectacular for everything except the STOL launch, where power gets you off the ground. She's been relying on technique and proficiency, and it's been working out well for her. She got first place in the spot landing competition. She's flying an 18-meter Sirocco 3 from Ozone, wearing the Limitless paramotor and a Viterazzi Atom 80 swinging. I believe she's swinging the 140 centimeter prop. She's got those beautiful blue and orange colors, nice lean back, keeping those legs running until she's off and flying. She's going to go up, try and understand what's going on in the wind, and get pointed towards the task. We've got a few pilots in the air now, getting a little bit more interesting as they progress. I want to check in with Cappy. He's the first up. He is making progress. Oh, he's got a couple of good tracks. You can see how hard it is to maintain a straight line.
Oh, I just got some inside information, James.
Ooh.
Some pilots are making some strategic decisions out there. Brooke and Kyle have actually decided to leave this LZ to head to another LZ closer to the racetrack so that they can perform to the highest of their abilities.
That
is an interesting strategy.
If it's not against the rules, I'm all for it. Let's see here. I've pulling up Google Maps because I was looking at distance tracks earlier. And where are we? We are miles and miles. Yeah, so Sunnyland Ranch, 6.7 miles away. If half of your forward speed is being chopped up by the wind, 6 miles on some of these gliders should be taken about 12 minutes. With this wind at 300 feet, it probably adds 20 minutes to that flight. So just getting there and back might add 30 minutes to your time.
Well, maybe they'll get a couple more shots at the track.
Yeah, you could do a whole second lap of the track in that time if you find yourself a place to launch closer to the start. If we
got
had
one pilot in the track right now, is that
Cappy.
Cappy's taking his first spin around.
I like how close he's being able to follow it so far. He's given himself plenty of distance between the no-fly zones. He's managing to hold his heading pretty good, but he's got to do this for about another 9 miles. So it's going to be a test of endurance. Jillian Wintermoot taking off. Another Limitless pilot and a fellow instructor over at Aviator PPG. She's flying the Viper XC. You can see those little winglets. And she may be utilizing the altitude to make her forward progress. She's staying close to the ground. There's not as much wind, and she's going to be able to get where she's going quicker. Luigi! I expect him to be a dangerous competitor on this event. Taking off with his APCO F3. That man knows how to use speed bar, and he is not afraid to do it. He was one of the fastest pilots in the air, faster than most of the trikes, even though he weighs significantly less without the wheels and that added superstructure.
Taking a look back here at Cappy, still making his way around the course.
He's going to be headed to this first turn where that wind might blow him sideways. What altitude is he at? 38 feet.
He's keeping it low.
That's when he was taking off. He had climbed about 250 feet for his trip. Oh, Gudio's back. That's unexpected. Gudio? I think it's Gudio. Bit of a bounce on landing here, but he's returned. Usually it indicates there's either a problem or a concern or a reset.
We got Cappy coming into his first turn here.
Yeah, that was Gudio. Yep.
Yeah, we did the interview with him. It's like it's Guido, but my enunciation is not officially. It's like Guido.
Oh, I can't help you. I can't pronounce English. Are you kidding me?
I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry we're butchering your name, but
look at these altitudes. This is fabulous. You can see some of our faster pilots are lower to the deck. James Sutherland, 150 feet off the ground, ripping it at 36 miles an hour. If he can keep that speed up, he's going to be dangerous.
Looks like we got another pilot entering the course here. That'd be Nick.
Nick Fazikis also took off early. He had those beautiful lights. He's characterized by the big old bicycle-style wheels on his trike. Makes him easy to spot in the sky.
And right on his tail is Wallow.
Wallow, 250 feet, forward progress 23 miles an hour.
So I guess the strategy if you're passing somebody is just to go
lower,
above or below them in elevation.
But above is going to be faster winds, so it's
Is there a set standard or courtesy? Does the faster pilot move below? Does the slower pilot move above? These are things to be determined, I guess.
It is up to the faster pilot to avoid, because the slower pilot's not looking in their rearview mirror. They don't have a rearview mirror. And so the faster pilot's going to be coming up above, below, to the left, to the right, and whoever's in front isn't even going to see him coming. Aha! Oh, we've got a report that Guido is having trouble with the recording of his app data. Okay. Oh, we've got 3 pilots all entering this track. If you stick behind somebody who knows what they're doing, it might make your life a little bit easier, give you a little bit more confidence that you're on the right trajectory, following the center of the path. And if there's any gusts ahead of you, you're going to be able to see your competitor as he gets them. Oh, that variance from the track. 700 feet wide, but you're not on a road. The higher you are, the harder the reference points are to follow. The closer you are to the ground, the faster you're going to be to move, but your reaction time for everything needs to accelerate as well. Let's see here. James Sutherland. He's up to 100 feet. No, he's... Oh, man, these conditions are variable. He was 50 feet higher, and he was moving 6 miles an hour faster. He's dropped 50 feet, and he's dropped 6. That's a huge variance. For the air to be that variable is indicative that conditions are not smooth up there. I would expect these pilots are going to be reporting some bumpy conditions when they land. So we've got Nick on trike. We've got James Sutherland on trike, and I believe the third guy is Wallow. Wallow is not on the fastest wing, but he is making progress. He is still higher than his competitors. That is going to give him a nice view, being able to watch those trikes. He's going to have something to follow that is going to make his life easier, especially when he gets to these corners. If he can keep his competitors in sight, that's going to make his life easier as he traverses this course. But they've got him significantly on their speed, so I expect they'll be pulling away in short order. Nick has him by 12 miles an hour. Where's Luigi at? There's full speed bar if I've ever seen it. Luigi, where are you on this map? You're covering ground. 34 miles an hour, that says speed bar to me. Oh, that's Jim. Jim trucking along at 11 miles an hour there. He's about to enter the course. He got a head start because that Charger is not a fast competition wing, but he's been accurate with it so far, which has been good points for him. Here we have Yoglin. Tripping along 30 miles an hour. Again, these are just waypoints to help guide the pilots to the start track. You have to enter into this circle. If you manage to enter the track from outside the circle, it will not count you. And you also would have entered a no-fly zone and taken a 50% penalty, so don't do that. Further along the course, we have Cappy. He was first in, and nobody's going to be catching him, I don't think. 31 miles an hour, he is making significant progress. And that track he's following has been dead on the central line. It got pushed a little bit over here after he made that turn, getting the heading right. He missed it a little bit, but he got his heading right. So he was still inside the track, no problems there. Coming up for a launch here, we've got 2 pilots. We've got Cappy, or I keep saying Cappy, but in the left, my left, in the jeans, in the blue jeans, we have Colby flying a gin carve. And then all bundled up so well I can't even tell who it is. In black, we've got another APCO. That's the EZR. I know that pilot. That would be Erico. Oh no, that wing did not come up square. Either a line was caught or something was amiss with Colby's wing there. It just folded up like a taco when he went to launch. He's going to need to get reset, get an assist. He's not going to lose anything there. There's going to be no penalty on that. Scott Julius? I thought he already took off. I got to figure out what pilot was flying the Spider then. Gemma has the orange Charger. Yoglin must have the other Spider. Yep. There goes Scott taking off. The foot drag takeoff is a demonstration of skill, being able to hold your altitude after going full power for the launch. Can be a risky maneuver, but is always a sign of skill. So Erico, he's pumping a little bit of smoke out of that motor this morning. He must have gotten a fair bit of prime out of there. And now he's got the excess fuel burning off below the combustion chamber, giving us a bit of white smoke. If we don't see it continue, it'll be just fine. But it's always something to keep an eye on. Every variance from expected is to be kept an eye on, because every variance is a factor that you have to account in the overall risk profile of the flight, which is why some of our pilots opted not to fly out of this field this morning, but to drive their equipment closer to the task. There's no points for flying to the task. There's only points for the task itself. Motor warm, clipped in, getting gloves situated, getting lines situated. Erico is about to take off this morning. The conditions have confused the heck out of everybody. They are far better than they were an hour ago. And so the flight's going to be better than some of our pilots were fearing. Let's see if they can take advantage of this improvement in the conditions for clean launches and clean runs around the course. Oh, don't roll your wing over by pulling it too tight. That's not going to help you launch. Getting that leading edge, catching a nice big old, there we go. Just a little blip of the throttle, push that wing up into a shape that's going to allow it to lift beautifully into the sky for a launch. Toughest part of the flight for new pilots especially is just getting off the ground, but even pilots who have been flying for 10 years are always making their takeoff as clean as it can be, because the launch is where a lot of damage can occur while you're going full throttle and the behavior is not what you expect. So minimizing variables, keeping it consistent is the key to flying for a long time. Checking in on the course, we've got a couple of pilots cruising through. Following up on our leader. Now, just because he's the first through doesn't mean he'll be the fastest through. The earlier conditions that he took off in are probably rewarding him now if they pick back up. Even though it's smooth for our folks now, in 30 minutes when they're in the course, the conditions may change again. Oh boy, we got to stay inside the fly zone. That was a nice big wide turn. He used the width as much as possible, got right back on track. So he's been making efficient turns. I don't expect him to take a 50% penalty. Oh, he got blown off course a little bit there. That's 10, 15 seconds of absolute concentration slipped. Got him quite close to the edge. There's not a lot of room for error on this track here today.
And each of these pilots had to put an estimated time of where they thought they would finish, and that does affect their score. So they had to make a guesstimate. You want to be as close to that guesstimate as possible. If you are slower or faster, you do get somewhat of a penalty, but you want to be as close to that estimated time, which is super difficult to
Don't
estimate in these
swing
conditions.
too wide, Cappy. Don't swing too wide.
Cappy just
Okay.
fighting the winds, trying to stay out of that no-fly zone.
Yep. Now, this isn't updating as fast as the actual data. This is giving us shortened data. So that point may not be fully accurate, but he's absolutely close to trouble. That was a nice turn there.
How close is Cappy to the end of the full circle here?
He is in the closing mile or two, I would expect.
Coming up on our first full lap of the speed course this morning. It is getting
I'm excited.
It's pretty calm now compared to how we started.
So I wonder if there's anything that these altitudes can tell us. He's on a downwind leg. The wind is out of the north and east. He's climbed up and he is cruising along 37 miles an hour. That's a lot for us.
First full completion coming up right now, Leah. Cappy's he's on his last leg right now. On the straightaway.
He had one close encounter with the no-fly zone so far. It looks like we've got an overtake coming close, I would. Look at that. James Sutherland was scud running 30-some feet at 24 miles an hour.
Everybody seems to be below 200 feet except for Jim, who I think is just making his way to the field, and Wallow.
Nick, 26 miles an hour. So these two are flying side by side at the moment. Come on, that's a nice clean inflation this time for Colby. He's made some adjustments to his equipment since he started flying. Changing the profile of his wing has allowed him to launch far more cleanly than he was for the first task or two. So he's made some improvements that I expect will add to his confidence in today's task. With the smoother conditions, if they last, he'll be doing just fine. James and Nick are side by side on the trikes. That's got to be a lot of fun. Launching. Gudio's taking off. Brooke has his gaggle on. Brooke left the field and is taking off someplace entirely different. So this is not a place he's ever flown from. So this is an entirely new LZ made up on the spot using the conditions available.
All right, so Cappy coming up on his final lap. Let's see where he's at. Pilots are getting creative. He's out of the full lap.
He done it. He survived.
He done it. He has survived the first full lap of the speed test. It's flyable, James. Let's see who else we got in here making their progress. Nick is about halfway complete with his.
I wish I could see him, Nick Fazekas, and James Sutherland flying side by side on the course. The two trikes, they've been competing closely this whole time. And I bet they're going up and down, chasing every bit of where is the wind a little bit less of a headwind, allowing them to gain. They're fighting for feet left and right. That's got to be a lot of fun for the two of them right now.
We got another close battle going on down here in the.
I expect to see some overtakes on this.
Looks like
set of four pilots, because we've got speeds that are quite variable. 17, 23.
Jim and Whitney.
Oh, that is a lot of pilots.
And Luigi are all stacked up
30
here.
miles an hour. Luigi's going to be passing people. And these pilots are going to be looking at each other, gauging, is the altitude giving me the most bang for the buck? So they're bouncing around between altitudes, changing altitudes by 10 feet in order to gauge which is going to be the fastest.
Adrian warming up his motor here on the field. He's definitely
Oh,
one of the high contenders.
this is a big turn. This is pretty funny. So you're not turning sharply on most of this course, except for the corners. Unless, of course, you get off course and you need to avoid hitting a no-fly zone. So this was a drift out, and then a quick turn for course correction. Another quick turn for course correction. So hopefully that didn't cause any penalties there. Luigi had a problem with a no-fly zone in the treasure hunt where he did fabulous. Flew 6 hours in that day's task. Caught a lot of points, but unfortunately clipped a no-fly zone, which cut his points in half. So he is one of the fastest pilots out there. Let's see if he can keep it clean. Taking off in the yellow, Adrian, our UK pilot with the factory Armoster. The wing choice he has, an 18-meter Viper XC, is a great wing. He's actually upsized it just a little bit. He could be flying on a 16-meter wing if he wanted. He could take off in the same time, but that wing is going to give him more efficiency at the sacrifice of probably 1 to 2 miles an hour of total forward speed. But this is the wing they're using for the entire series of tasks, not just one at a time. So while he may lose an edge with this task, it's performed admirably for him and the others. Navigation, top score for Adrian. That is every pilot launched.
Yeah, that is all of our pilots up in the sky, so we are sticking with Gaggle now. Thanks to Gaggle, big shout out for helping us out with this event all week. Some of these events would not be possible without this amazing app, not only keeping us, focused on the task at hand, but also keeping us safe from other air traffic and giving us all the data so that we can announce, spectate, and just keep everything interesting here at the Paramotor STOL Classics.
Brooke with the new LZ off the ground.
I believe Kyle Mooney went with him, and we've seen him up in the sky quite yet.
No,
Hollywood, there he is.
What? No way.
263 feet.
Holy smokes, that man is fast. I think Brooke actually had to put his motor together before he started this competition. He had disassembled it to a degree, worried that there was going to be no more flying in this competition. So he was not ready this morning when the call came out. He was ready to go home, but
got this tight pack of 4 up here. Whitney, Luigi, Jim.
Whitney and Luigi have already passed Jim. That Charger's a fabulous wing, but it is not a one of the more advanced wings out there. It's a great all-arounder. It is not a speedy demon.
What's your strategy once you complete the course once? Do you come back to the field, kind of break down your performance, or do you just rip it one more time?
That's a great question. I don't know what they're going to be doing, and
you think they'll take advantage of the LZ that?
No, I don't expect anybody to land out and change what they're doing. Looks like Cappy's going to make a full return to home court. I don't know if any of these pilots have considered doing a second lap, because when the conditions this morning at 6 a.m. were concerning. They were downright concerning for a lot of pilots, but they have improved so dramatically that pilots who weren't planning on getting a head start or a fast start are now up and flying. So because of that mindset and the concern they had at the start of the track, I don't know if any of them are going to consider making a second run. And if you hit a no-fly zone, it detects 50% of the points for the whole flight, so they would need to land and then take off again in order to do a second lap. So if anybody's going to do it, it'll likely be Brooke and Kyle from that shortened new launch zone they found. I'll be interested to hear if they took off from a road or ditch, a farm track, or if they found some nice, safe place to launch from.
Hollywood Kyle Mooney has entered the speed course. Got a few pilots in there. I think that, I think my strategy would be to probably just get one in up on the board, settle, kind of settle out of the course, check my time, make a couple adjustments, rip a second attempt, and then probably get two of those in before I would come back just to take advantage of the short window that we have this morning.
That would require some forward thinking and live change of strategy. I doubt any of these pilots were expecting that a second run would be available today.
Yeah, it does take quite a bit of time just to even get one lap in, so who knows what that window will continue to be open for us to be able to fly with the conditions here. We've had quite the cold front move in. Definitely has increased the wind speeds around the entire state of Florida. Pretty much keeping all the paramotor folks grounded in the entire state. So it's pretty lucky that we could be able to get this small window in this morning. Leah saw the window. She's taken advantage and said, we're getting the speed course in. So here we are.
Coming in for final, we do have Cappy. Maybe we can put ears on him for a minute to get his flight review, because he took off in the rowdiest conditions. He might have some interesting insights for us. He always makes his arrival known by losing altitude with some nice big wing overs. He likes to pop the smoke he's got on there, leaves a beautiful trail through the sky as he makes his approach. Yeah, there's wind up there, no doubt about it.
He's not moving too much.
What's that altitude show for us? For Cappy. Where is he?
I don't see him on the list. Maybe he turned off his gaggle.
I hope he hasn't had gaggle problems. Coming in right behind us, weaving through the trees.
You might even see him on the GoPro.
He might be there. Oh, absolutely, for a moment. Now, the beauty of the trike is it allows. Watch out for the fence there, sir. Good job. Nice clearing it only as much as he needs to for a nice smooth landing. He doesn't need to land that close. He's just showcasing his skills, because with the taxi you can, a competent pilot on the taxi can take that wing all around the field 360 degrees. So he could have landed in the middle if he wanted to. He didn't need it.
I'm gonna see if I can get Cappy over here for a conversation with you.
It looks like on our map we've got some more. Oh, that's not a no-fly zone. It's out of the track, but it's not a no-fly zone. That's Luigi again. We were concerned about his staying between the lines, and he's getting away with it at the moment. But we've got a lot more separation from that big pack that we had enter all near the same time, as their speed variances showcase themselves on this 11.5-mile track. We've got our first speed run competitor all the way back at the LZ. Cappy, how was the flight this morning?
Oh my God!
Tell me about the wind.
Well, surprisingly, first of all, I did not piss off Leah, because she was relying on my meteorologist knowledge.
Okay.
So that's good. So that's why we launched. Smooth air. Very smooth air.
No way.
I sent a message to everybody, so I gave them a clue. Try to help everybody out, since I was the first one. Very smooth air all the way. Winds aloft are very high. I was actually knocking out 70 miles an hour on the way back. I don't know if you guys see that.
With the tailwinds,
With the
70 miles an hour.
Ground speed, yes.
What did you calculate for your speed in flight?
And that was a problem. I have to tell you that. I calculated a low number, I thought, and I could do a lot better than that. Actually, in this, since the winds are off, very low altitude,
Yeah.
I could go
Yeah, we
actually
saw
pretty fast.
pilots running along 100 feet off the ground, 50 feet off the ground.
And that is the trick. That is the trick. Go low, and when you turning into a crosswind, tailwind, then you start speeding up, and you start climbing, and
Yeah.
you're trying to use the wind for advantage. And that's what happened. Actually, I started to climb up, using that advantage, and I was cooking. And towards to the end of the course, which is the last segment, I had to actually release the speed bar, pull my trims in because I saw that I'm way too fast.
You were going too fast. So
Yeah.
the wind's out of the north, blowing you south, and you were moving
Right.
south, so you had to slow down.
Right.
So I would imagine that these pilots are accelerating on this part of the track.
Absolutely. Yeah. So once
Wait,
you
does that say 53 miles an hour for Yogeland? Holy smokes!
yeah, so there's a lot of speed.
We're seeing speeds sub 20 here into the wind, and 50 miles an hour here. That's a difference of 100% of your glider's airspeed.
Right. Right.
The airspeed versus the ground speed calculations.
So the very nice thing I have to say that is the air is smooth, so you can go full
That's
speed
great.
bar, you can go safe.
That's
the
fabulous. I'm so glad to hear it. I was worried it was going to be rowdy for you guys.
So where you start to go, since it's coming pretty much from the northwest right now, so that's the area where you're gonna be turning into a downwind, and that's when you wanna be climbing up and actually using that speed for advantage to correspond to your quoted speed. However, this is where I messed up.
Yeah. Yeah, you weren't that tailwind component was
Yes, I was way too
massive.
fast, and I was at that point, I did not have an anchor to drop.
an anchor.
Yeah, I was looking for it. I'm like, what can I do now? I'm like, well, how can I slow this thing down? But it was a lot of fun. It's not that hard to maintain the course. That was one of the concerns for, I guess, many pilots. Only tricky part is the corners. You take
Yeah.
the corners and you're gonna change the wind direction. So you think about like a 20 knots of wind or 20 miles an hour wind blowing you, and when you're making that turn, you're making almost a 90-degree turn or even more sometimes.
Yeah, this is too simple.
That's when it can blow you into the red zones.
Oh, okay.
If somebody not making an aggressive turn, because the whole course is a very shallow turn technically.
Right. Yeah,
But the
these big
corners
wide
just-
sweeping turns, but
Right.
these couple of corners Leah threw in specifically to test your skills.
Yes, and she did. It was a lot of fun, definitely. Very flyable weather. I'm extremely surprised. This is actually way better than what I was expecting.
I am thrilled to hear it. We witnessed not long after you took off that the conditions at the ground here just smoothed right out. Took us all by surprise. But we're all happy for it.
Absolutely.
I'm glad to hear you had a good flight then.
Yeah, it's good to see these guys right now going through the course. It's a really look like a racetrack, and you're watching these Formula One cars going through. It's amazing.
Do you have any competitors that you're worried about on the speed course? I knew you were going to be one of the fastest pilots out there.
I would say all of them. Why not? You know,
Okay.
I would worry about all of them. And I know I trust my equipment. I have a powerful motor. I have a very fast wing. My wing is I trust, and it's a Dudek drift air, and been flying with it for a while, so I can get the maximum out of that wing.
The reason I ask is because I've been watching these two pilots, Nick Fazekas and James Sutherland, who have been flying essentially side by side through the entire course. They were wingtip to wingtip, it looked like, in the opening segments of this lap, and they've stayed side by side the whole time. And they've been hunting different altitudes, looking for the highest speed, and neither's been able to get away from each other. But as they hunt different altitudes, one will watch and see if the other one's gaining an advantage on them. They know they fly the same speed, so if a different altitude gets you a faster speed, the other one's going to join them.
Yeah, this is not the
So,
course. This is not the course to follow somebody. This is not the course for
no?
that. It's because you set your own time. That's the trick in that one. So maybe Nick and him, James, had a different time set. Maybe one of them said, "Oh, I'm gonna do it in 22 minutes. I'm gonna do it in 26 minutes." They fly side by side. How's that gonna work? They can't do it. So, so they have to trust themselves. They have to investigate the wind. But here's a big clue what they could do, and which is this is what I did when I was flying out there. I was already charting the winds aloft. I
Yeah.
was going up and down and try to find out, okay, what speed I'm doing here, what speed I'm doing here, what speed I'm doing here. And those are the data what I was collecting till I started get to the start line where we started at the green line.
Okay.
I was already full speed bar, trims out, and ready to do all of those altitudes in the course.
So you took advantage of the couple of miles from the LZ to the start of the course to gather data.
Absolutely,
That's
absolutely. That's the trick. What you need to do, just to get familiar with the weather. If you start flying down on the same altitude, you have no idea what's going to happen. However, if you fly on the same altitude the whole course, maybe I could be better as
you
well.
might get it. You might gain a little bit more consistency and
Right.
closer to your expected arrival time.
Right, right. For the speed run, it would be fantastic. Actually, I could do a lot better probably today than I was projecting. Did not work that way. So,
Okay.
but it was a great flight, smooth flight. I enjoyed it. I had a lots of fun. So I'm
70 miles an hour, smooth air, great course. It sounds like you had a good time out there flying this morning.
absolutely
I'm so glad you made it.
all right. Hey, thank you very much.
You know, if this holds on, we're just going to keep flying all day. So
Oh,
don't go
absolutely.
too far. This
Yeah,
is
I know. I know. This is
Like,
this is like what happened, right?
this is go flying weather. We've had 2 days of blowing sideways weather.
Right.
It was blowing sideways this morning.
Yeah.
We were seeing projected winds of 25 miles an hour at 400 feet, and yet this looks just lovely.
Yeah,
One of
absolutely.
those.
Weather forecast was horrible. I mean, look at different models, different weather forecasts, and everything is just showing gusts more than 20, and then that's definitely not flyable according us. But this is nothing like that. I mean, we look at the wind suck right now. This is like probably like a 3 or 4 miles an hour wind.
Absolutely. The micrometeorology, as opposed to the large macro landscape that most of the weather stations are concerned about. Do you think there's something local to this area that made that forecast wrong?
Well, I don't know what was the forecast. The forecast is, first of all, do not trust the meteorologist ever because it's 50-50. I don't know if you guys seen those videos. 50-50.
50-50.
Yeah, 50-50, right? So they could be the right or wrong, but that's how they claim it always. Do not trust them. But
Here comes Nick on a downwind approach.
here he comes. Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, what a beautiful morning.
Wow, look at the sun and everything. I almost want to go back and do it again.
I don't think there's anything that says you can't. I'd say go double check with Leah. Bobby was speculating that people might go make multiple runs. Oh, brakes.
I don't think that would be fair. I would not do that.
No?
I would no, because everybody should have the
Oh,
same.
James just came in for a nice crosswind landing.
Yeah. What about if nobody, like some people cannot go back? You know.
Why
so
not?
it's- I don't know. I don't know why they can't, but some people maybe not want to. Or. But anyway, so we had. If everybody participated, this should be a good run.
I don't think we had the full,
Pilot
you
group?
know, counting the competitors. I did not do, but I'm not sure we caught everybody, and I know
Right.
we lost a couple of pilots. That didn't make it back. For example, Chucky Wright did not fly this morning. Rob Condella did not fly this morning.
My hands.
I saw Dro wander out onto the field, but I think he's dedicated to some filming this morning rather than flying. That may have been a safety call or a priorities call. So it's a mixed bag, but all of the serious competitors and all of the top performing competitors were in the air this morning.
Oh,
Yourself,
good,
Luigi,
good.
Whitney, Kyle. Well, we got a little bit of everybody.
Yeah, I hope all of the strikes took off too. I'm not sure if
Yes. Yep.
we had all 4.
Yep.
Good. All right.
You were first up, then Nick and James, and then not long after that was Gudio, who's out there
I tell you a
probably ripping
strange
up the
thing
course.
right now. I think the weather is actually better than when I took off.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Like,
About half
seriously,
an hour after
yeah.
you launched, it got nice.
That's when I'm like, okay, I need to rush because this is gonna get worse. And then I take off in probably the worst weather and start flying, and then everything starts smoothing out, and it's just beautiful. But we have lots of guys on the ground right now, so that's awesome.
That was completely unexpected.
Oh yeah,
improvement into the conditions, but nobody is complaining
you can
about
still
it.
see him coming in here right now. For example, he has a nice crab angle, so there are some winds aloft still blowing.
But if they're smooth, it's not a problem. It just affects your total time.
Not a problem at all. Yeah, so
great.
I think we could almost do the navigation course too.
I mean, if these conditions hold, there's no reason not to get as much flying as possible.
Right. So yeah, I think we should focus on that, to knock out everything, because these last 2 days we've been losing a lot of time.
Absolutely. Now, I'm not kicking you out of the chair, but I am excited to talk to James Sutherland, that battle he's had going on with Nick for his entire flight.
I was going to ask somebody to take my chair because I wanted to have a coffee anyway. And I'm gonna go for the coffee, and this is my major thing right now.
Yeah, Wallow coming in for a nice landing. Oh, smooth foot drag. That wet grass allows you to just slide.
Very nice. All
Beautiful.
right. Well, thank you very much.
I'm so glad you made it back and had a good flight.
All right. Take care.
What's up? Let's see those dance moves again. How was it?
That was good. It's a little bumpy, but it was nice. Nice.
How do you think you did in the course?
I was faster. Definitely faster. So maybe about off by a minute and a half.
What was your original time that you guessed?
It was like 27:40.
What would you end up getting?
Around 26 and some change. Yeah, so we'll see.
The James is here.
back on the mic with James and James. We're
All
watching
right.
some of our pilots returning home.
Yes, we are.
Uh,
Not sure who that is, but they are struggling in the wind. It was beating us
Arico.
up.
Arico.
Arico.
Okay.
All right.
Take me through that. How were the conditions at launch?
At launch, we're perfect. As soon as we got up to about 50 feet, I felt like I hit a wall, so I just stayed at 50 feet.
I saw
all the
that
way
your
to
track on the way out. So you didn't go hunting through the atmosphere, see if there was any layers that you liked better or worse, or you just stayed low?
It seemed pretty good at about 100 feet, and there was a ton of land outs, so I just stayed there, and I knew,
This is Luigi coming in, having fun. He must not be too upset about the air.
yeah.
He's always having
He's
fun.
having a good time.
This guy likes flying. He's spent more time in the air than most any other pilot.
It's rare that I'm happy being on the ground at a fly-in, but it's nice to see some of these guys fly.
So you stayed close to the deck and it wasn't as bumpy, or it was still bumpy, but you were getting the forward progress you needed?
You know, after the last week or two of long flights and staring at my screen instead of worrying about what my wings is doing, I wasn't thinking about the bumps at all. That's probably like one of the first times that's happened.
You were concentrating on so much else and the flying that the bumps weren't even an issue?
Yeah, it really wasn't an issue. The only thing that I was worried about was keeping a steady speed or staying in the same wind speed air.
Okay.
So I figured at the same level, the wind speeds were going to be pretty the same over the next 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I tried to stay at like the exact same altitude all the way around.
Gotcha.
And until I realized that I can go faster than my time, and then I just like threw trims out and just let it rip. The last downwind leg, I was doing like 51 or something.
Yeah, Cappy said he hit 70 miles an hour,
70.
and he had gotten too far ahead of himself. He wasn't planning on it, so he was actually trying to slow himself down on the downwind leg.
Yeah.
Because trying to keep that accuracy on the time that he had projected.
I don't think I really understood how it works, so I was just going to stay on course.
This is the first
stay at the
speed
same
run
altitude.
that any of us have done. So yeah, there's this. That's the beauty of this, is the learning and understanding. And as we talk to the pilots here, we're gonna get some tips and tricks on how to succeed for the next lap.
Yeah.
Cappy's already talking about going up and hitting the course again. It's so nice now.
It has calmed down a little bit, but you can tell up there that it's ripping.
Air's still pretty active up there. Okay.
If he goes back up, I'll go back up just to place another point in there.
Sure, yeah. Well, he hasn't put away his equipment yet, so he's still thinking about it.
Well,
Can you tell us anything about your flight having a wingman competitor right next to you?
yeah, he was right next to me. I went under him at one point.
Nick Fazekas,
Yeah,
right?
Nick
Fellow
Fazekas.
trike pilot.
Yep. I went under him at one point. I went over him at another point. I thought I was going like right in the middle of the track, and he's just like crossing me and like almost bumping into me, and like I don't know if that's good or bad. I think that at the end you're just going to see the times, and it may be that his jagged track was like actually slowing him down to like the right speed. So
That could have been a tactical move while he was on the course, actively taking his time.
I realized like
Jim
about halfway
Simard
around.
coming in.
Good one, buddy.
He is very controlled.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to watch him.
I think everybody here has got a good game on them, a good flying game.
Absolutely.
Everybody here is pretty solid.
So you might go up again if your competitors go up. You might take satisfaction with your time. Do you know how close you got to what you had called for?
I realized about halfway through that I had no idea how long it had been when I started. I had no idea. So we're just gonna see what GPS track says.
It'll all come down to the data in the end.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue about it. It was a great time. All I know is I wish the speed track would have been like around this field maybe, or around this property instead of 20 minutes away
Sure, sure.
and then doing it. But I think that she had a reason.
Let me get your opinion on this. Kyle Mooney and Brooke Sheffield did not launch from here. They got in their vehicles with their equipment, flew to the nearest points, and
Drove to it and flew.
yeah, What do you think about that? Was that a cheat? Was that a hack? They've got foot launch, so they can take off more places than you.
I think they did that so that they could still have the gas when they got there, but I don't know.
Oh, possible fuel concerns?
Yeah,
sure.
I think you're playing with like little seconds here and seconds there, and maybe that's what it'll come down to in the end. But we'll see.
That's great.
Really, there's so many variables right now that I don't understand. The only one I can control is just like flying well, and so that's all I've been really focusing on, and letting the chips fall where they may.
Keeping it, doing as good as you can, and letting the rest take care of itself.
Yeah, it's like going to play golf and like playing the course instead of playing your opponent.
I like it. Real quick, just because it's a unique look. Did that hat get hit by a propeller?
No, it's one of those like buffs or whatever. I cut it up so I could bring it around here, but right now
utility wear. Okay.
I wanted to show you my goozle.
Hidden talents, everybody. Wallow, you're wandering around like you want to come say hi.
Yeah,
How you doing today?
Yeah, he does. Look at this. Come here, buddy. Sit right here. Talk to my friend.
Oh, God.
Thank you, James.
So, first thing, Wallow, it looks like you took off, went up to 300 feet and got parked. How'd you manage to get back so quick?
Well, the wind was going in the right direction on the way back. But when I first took off, I was probably like the second person in the air, and it was quite bumpy. I was like, man, I hope it doesn't get worse than this. But it leveled out, and it was nice on the course. That track was good. I liked it.
Yeah, a lot of fun. How were the corners? What was the trickiest part of the course?
So when they had the hairpins, I thought initially that there was going to be an out of bounds when you go into the corner.
Sure.
When I saw that there wasn't, I was like, okay, I can dive into it. And
Coming in on final, we have Whitney Horkey here. She likes to be graceful on her landing. She's proved she can do it on some of the tasks. Just a nice float in, step back on the ground. Lovely. So you were telling me about these corners.
Yeah, so there was no out of bounds in the hairpins. So
so you can swing wide without catching a penalty, except for maybe time?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of hit like I have a background in racing, so I kind of hit like the apex right in here. So I was coming out this way, and then I would swing out and then dive in and come back in like this.
Okay.
So it's a strategy. I don't know if it worked, but I had my stopwatch on when I went through the gates. And originally my estimated time was 27:40.
Okay.
And I did it around 26 and some change.
Okay. So you'll catch a bit of deductions for being faster than you expected, but overall that's a pretty good time set.
Yeah. I mean, I guess faster is better than slower, right?
Did you pass anybody out on the course?
No, I got passed. Yeah.
Well, I'm noticing here Whitney just landed, and she had a few competitors take off before her, and yet she's pretty early in the sequence getting back, so she must have made some good time today.
Yeah, she's on a Spider, right?
No, she's on a Sirocco 3, 18 meter. So trims out, it moves along pretty good.
Yeah.
So she must have felt comfortable enough to go trims out.
Oh, yeah, it was nice.
You can see he's got trims all the way, and those long trimmers are flapping in the breeze.
Is that Erico?
That's Erico, yeah. He's not ready to come down just yet. Were you surprised last night that there was going to be a flight window?
100%. I mean, we were partying last night. And then Leah sent the message, and I was like, "Okay, Leah, we're going to bed. We're cutting it."
I was there. I think it was getting to be on in the evening a little bit, and we were all rocking and rolling. And then that text came through, and everybody packed up, hit their phones for a little bit of research, and went to bed knowing they were getting up early to go flying today before the sunrise.
Yep. I'm glad we were able to because it was beautiful this morning.
How did the bumps affect your flight track, your altitude?
Bumps weren't really an issue. It was the how strong the wind was. I was mostly
Okay.
crabbing through the course.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that on the departures. That forward speed was going to be an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's the cool thing was like the wind was coming perfect on those hairpins that you were slow going into them and then fast coming out of them.
Okay, look at that. Erico's taking advantage of that open spot in the field to do some spot landing practice.
Yeah, he's not ready to stop.
He's having fun now. That's how you know the pilot's having fun, is because they don't want to come back down. That's great. Means the conditions are good up there. Looks like we've got another pilot inbound. That appears to be Jillian Wintermute. Doing a couple of wing dinghies back to the course, home field. Yes, these pilots are flying as straight and fast as possible, but we love swinging around. That's where the fun is.
Oh yeah.
That's unlike just about any other type of aviation.
Luis. ¿Cómo estás? Good.
Yeah, I know you. Ooh, here she comes. Nice. Another smooth landing. When the landing gear is your legs, you try and keep them in good condition.
Oh yeah. There's been some hard ones.
We've seen a few pilots who, in the name of getting where they wanted to go, may have taken some lumps and bumps.
Yeah, you get that.
So now you've flown 4 tasks at this point.
Yeah.
Which one has been your favorite?
I think so far this speed run has been my favorite.
Yeah?
I really liked the spot landing, but this speed run was really fun. There's so many aspects of it, just the technicality of the course, dealing with the wind, trying to go as fast as possible, but still having to turn. So I was using mostly my my wingtips
Okay.
and brakes, and I have 2D tied in, so I was just grabbing the line, kind of flicking it.
Just using the outermost control surfaces.
Yep, not to burn speed.
Okay. Okay. We've seen a few pilots this afternoon struggling a little bit with those no-fly zones, and that's part of the design challenge on this course, and it looks like it's getting a few of our competitors.
Definitely. It was tricky staying in bounds. I know Leah talked about doing a 3-dimensional bounds. So instead of just the sides, but also up and down.
Right, making you climb at some points and dip down at some points.
Yeah. That would be interesting to see.
So what skills did you take into this speed course that you think benefited you the most, that helped you the most for your score?
So I love flying fast.
Okay.
And I'm a little bit more aggressive when I fly. So the spot landings and the STOL is kind of not my strong area.
Sure. But that's the beauty of having this weather window open, and why all of our pilots were excited for it, is the opportunity to get more points and a task that tests a different set of skills.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Definitely.
Awesome. And it's here that I've run out of things to talk about and sit in silence for a minute, and the audience just has to deal with it. long was that flight?
I think just under an hour, the whole thing. At first, it was sketchy. Perfect for that course.
The difficulty was exactly what was needed to make the course interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think the long sweeping turns was challenging because it makes you mess with the wind as you're trying to turn.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're adjusting your crab in flight.
Yeah, and also flying while looking
In
at your
turn.
instruments.
Yeah.
You know, having no point of reference when you
Have
look
you
up.
had that the whole time? I didn't see it when you ran the treasure hunt.
No,
Okay.
I lost it. I lost it, but I had it now. I found it. I was like, yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I put my watch right here.
I want to talk to Luigi because we knew that this was going to. This has his strong points and his weak points in it.
Yeah. Luigi.
Well, I don't see anybody shivering on the ground, so that's a good sign. What the heck happened with this weather? It just turned beautiful. Oh, that's a no-fly zone if I've ever seen one. I can't find the goddamn mouse on here. Oh, that's trouble. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. I've got Luigi. Luigi got me.
I can hear you. I can hear
Excellent.
myself as well.
So, Luigi, we were talking about this course last night. You were excited to get out and run this. Uh, what part of this course appealed to you most?
Um, yeah, I was excited because never done a thing like that before, and I was pretty confident about the knowledge about my equipment. I mean, um, I was too conservative.
With
I
your time or with your
yeah,
flying?
no, with my time, cause for the flying I wasn't worried at all. I planned to do full speed all the time, and I did that.
I could see
Flying lower between the trees to get
we,
protection from the wind to
we
be
were
faster.
we were watching your track and your speed, and you were consistently pushing the 30 plus mile an hours. That
Yeah, it was at full speed all the whole time. My
okay.
only thing was just to not hit the no-fly zone, and I get trouble to be to be inside the truck because there was the wind was kicking me all the time in some corner, and the delay in gaggle kicked
Yeah.
me a little bit because all the time, and I had to run half of the pathway to get managed to the delay and
Oh.
to
Oh
try to
no.
predict that. Then I hope I did not
Are
get
you
penalty. You know what I mean?
are you worried that you might catch a penalty for a no-fly zone somewhere along the
I
track?
I'm pretty much sure about my flight, but yeah, there's a couple of points. And at the end of the track, I
Yeah.
was distracted. Then probably
Distracted by what?
by watching the phone. I was trying to understand if I was doing nice or not, and I just touched too badly the phone. Then to get back to the view of Gaggle, I was just going directly inside the no-fly zone.
Oh no.
Then I made a sharp turn, and I was thinking, oh, I'm wasting time. But no, doesn't matter because I'm all the time faster than than the average that I was playing. Then I was
Sure. Okay.
aware about my results.
Oh,
Not
all
getting
right.
penalty for be slower.
How did you like? How did you like the course? Is that something you could run again if we have some more good weather?
Yeah, of course it is, because I could do better. Then if I have another chance, I think I will do better.
It,
Yeah, it's kinda tricky, because the pathway wasn't that easy
no,
to
we
understand and
we
to mark.
estimated it was a max of 700 feet wide between the invisible fences.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, there's no reference on the ground, and it's very difficult to follow a pathway on the phone. Yeah, you have the phone that is helping you a lot, but you have no reference on the ground. Then it's very hard to stay on the line, because you have always to check the phone and maybe find something that help you to point a direction, but the second after is not even the same, because maybe the wind shifted you a little bit and you have no reference below you.
so
I'm
that's
used to fly with a map.
yeah.
The way I'm used to orientate myself are more or less the same.
Do you have your gaggle set up for a satellite view or for this regular map
No,
view?
I have it set it on the regular. On the
Okay.
regular, because the satellite is confusing me a
Oh,
lot. I
okay.
do prefer just to have roads and some references on the map.
Okay.
That is following me with the GPS, and I don't need really to orientate myself
Sure.
on
So I was excited to talk with you because seeing throughout the competition that you are one of the fastest pilots in the field, up there with the speed of those trikes that are blowing everybody away. So it'll come down to if you were able to stay in the lines and avoid a 50% penalty.
Yeah, I'm hoping that.
All
Yeah.
right, that's awesome. What's been your favorite task so far?
My favorite task is so far the stall tasks.
The STOL?
Because, yeah, it's having a lot of fun. And for me, it's a very nice concentrated of technology and skills. Engine, frames, because the frames matter. This can make a big difference in takeoff and landing, because if you have a good frame, you can fly nicely and just think at the wing.
Sure.
Don't have to compensate the frame and stuff. A good engine that is reliable, smooth, and nice, it's a big thing. And the gliders that we have now of a technology that is incredible, that allow us as a pilot to show the very finest of us. You know what I mean?
Of what can be done with the equipment
Yeah,
that you have.
exactly.
Now, I think you're the only pilot flying a Corsair motor. Is that right?
Yeah, is it? Yes, it is.
What motor is that? I'm not super
It's
familiar with
one
that.
of the Italian's motor. We have plenty of different brands of motor. It's not well known outside of Italy. It's very well known in Italy.
Sure.
It's an engine that is famous for its reliability. The engine for all day use.
Sure.
You don't care too much about that.
Okay.
Maybe you don't have the maximum trust, all the best, but it's the machine that's
Very
follow
reliable.
you, yeah, for the whole life, and
Okay.
I love it.
That's great. Air cooled, liquid cooled.
It's air cooled,
Air
yeah.
cooled.
It's compared with the Monster, more
Okay,
or less same
comparative
thrust,
to
a
the
little bit
Monster.
less thrust, uh, a little bit low, a little bit maybe stronger at medium RPM, that
Okay.
you can level it with less power, and the consumption will be a little bit less.
So
I
the-
flew the other day 20 hours with, no, sorry,
6 hours
6 hours with less than
with
20
liters.
liters.
So pretty
Yeah.
good fuel efficiency
Yeah,
with
exactly.
good amount of power and reliability.
With my wing, that is an intermediate wing.
Yeah, the
that the
APCO
most
F3
pilots
is
are using.
is a stable all-around wing, and you've been performing very effectively with it.
Very quite efficient and very low minimum speed.
Who do we
and-
have coming in for landing here with the yellow wing?
Who
That
is-
would be Adrian.
Yeah.
He could take advantage of a free spot landing practice. He's just floating it in tiptoes to the ground. He's got that giant board for all of his instrumentation because he's used to the paper maps as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Over in- Have you competed with him on the
No,
international stage?
never competed directly with him. Yeah,
Okay.
I know him. I know him
Sure.
pretty well. But we first time we met here. Then it's nice to know other pilots from all over the world that are already competing.
We've got our UK and Italian pilots competing for the first time in Central Florida together. That's
Nice.
great. That's fantastic.
Will be even better if the Italian will take over on the UK guy.
I mean,
Maybe. No, he's very good. He's a very talented pilot and with big experience. Then
I've seen a
will
lot
will
of
be
very
will be a
talented
nice
pilots
fight.
today.
What? Sorry?
We've seen a lot of talented pilots today, and
Yeah. The level is pretty high then.
so overall, was that flight pretty fun for you then?
Yeah,
Or was
I
it
had a
more
lot.
work?
I had a lot of fun.
A lot of
No,
fun.
yeah, I had definitely a lot of fun.
What
Trying.
I can tell the pilots are having fun is when they don't want to come down when they get back to
Yeah,
the
same
field.
for me.
I saw you doing some wingy dingies, and we've got
Yeah. Oh, I'm in the air. I cannot fly again. I have to use this opportunity.
absolutely.
It's like that.
We saw some people taking advantage of a spree spot landing practice over there. It's been a pleasure to see you guys come in and not just land, but have a little fun before you do so. We were worried those conditions weren't going to allow it, but they were quite friendly in the
Yeah,
end.
the conditions are pretty good. The air is not bumpy at all. Yeah, it's a little bit of wind, but it's a stable, nice wind.
Great.
And I think we can go over with the day with spot landing, bowling, stall. I don't know. We will see what Leah decides.
If these conditions hold up, we're going to keep flying because this is pretty great.
Yep,
No
it
doubt.
is.
Oh,
You're here.
I am here, enjoying the Stoll Classic.
What did you just say?
I just said all my friends are pilots, and I love it. Yeah, including you.
How did you like the course up there? Were there any unexpected challenges?
No, just my old ass navigating gaggle and technology. Other than that, everything was great.
What time did you guess, and what time did you end up getting? Do you know?
Shoot, I guessed 26.5, and by the time I checked my clock, I was at 30, so I might have been off by a couple of minutes. But I didn't check till I was a few minutes out of the course, so yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
We'll see how it goes. See how it goes, man. Did you have a good one?
Oh yeah. I think I might have gone a little fast for my time.
I feel like I want to go back up and fly some more.
We're going to.
That was lovely, man.
Look right there. They're setting up the course.
Nice.
Okay.
just landed after about an hour-long flight. We've had some feedback from the pilots that the air was a lot better than they expected. I want to hear, Whitney, if you could tell us what was going through the pilot's head first thing this morning when the wind was blowing a lot more than we were hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, I think the overall thought process that we had this morning was that our speeds were going to be slower. Um, I know I personally inputted probably 3 or 4 different times into the form before I finally decided on one. I ended up flying a lot faster than I expected.
That is something that we've heard from a couple of pilots who came down. That where'd you pick up that extra speed that you weren't expecting?
It just was overall speed, honestly. I was expecting it to be worse on the way out there, speed-wise, but I was surprised at my ground speed. I couldn't tell you what it was, but because math. But I was always making progress, so I didn't ever feel like I was parked anywhere. Also, I didn't go very high, so I was basically running it above the treetops.
Treetop height gave you that lower wind
Yeah.
speed to fight against, reduce the crab angle, allowed you to take a more direct route and gain minutes.
Honestly, I was just concerned about going over my time,
Okay,
and because I didn't want that to happen.
sure.
Right? If I can come in under my time, cool. At least I get my time.
Right.
And to not touch any of the red fly zones, no fly zones, which I believe I did fine on that. So I finished, and I didn't go over my time, which I definitely didn't. I beat it by like 9 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. I think there's several of us that overestimated our times quite a bit, based on the conditions that we were seeing in the winds aloft, forecast and what was happening on the ground. So, speed run is difficult to really estimate, especially when you have such a changing condition like this.
Changing conditions, first attempt at an event like this.
Hmm.
Was it fun? What was there a fun factor involved?
Well, it didn't start out immediately fun, so to say, because we kind of needed to do the activity. But honestly, once I was up in the air, I wasn't too worried about it. Following a specific track on the gaggle is not difficult for me. I really like precision flying, so that's not a problem. And by the time I was done with it, I'm like, I got halfway through because I kept a timer myself. I got
Sure.
halfway through and I figured I was going to make my time no problem, so I kind of relaxed a little bit. Like, I could take a breath. Not thinking, oh gosh, am I going to be super duper slow? Watching a few of the other guys out here flying, like Jim, for example.
Yep.
On his Charger, I watched him take off. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's not moving at all. What the heck?
So you had some worries before you even launched?
Dude, yeah. It was a lot to think about. But once I was up there and moving, it was manageable. I didn't even touch my speed bar, so I didn't need to. Unless I had put a really small number time on my estimate, which I'm kind of glad I didn't. Because I probably would have been pushing too hard.
Sure. Is that something you'll be able to make some adjustments the next time there's a speed run course?
Yeah, I'd like to practice it more because I didn't really get a chance to practice the.
Nobody did. They all came
Right.
in cold.
Well, and we didn't create a pre-practice course like we did for our navigation in Lake Wales.
That's
So,
right. You used the gaggle to set up a practice course at your home field that you
Mhm.
were running that helped you score well in the treasure hunt.
Yeah. Having practice, understanding how gaggle works is really, I think, important in utilizing gaggle within the competition.
Okay.
Mhm.
Who do we have coming in here now?
Looks like we got Colby coming in on the carve. He launched a little after me, so this seems about right. We'll see. We'll have to see how well he did. I wonder what time he put in.
That's a great question. How was I don't know what the question was.
Whoops. That's okay.
A
All right.
nice floaty little landing.
Oh, yeah.
I bet his feet are a little happier with a nice, soft, slow landing.
Yeah, my
He's
feet
come
got
in
pretty
with some
chilly.
speed.
My feet got pretty chilly on this flight, but luckily I kept my
Oh, we
toes
are.
moving
Okay,
when
tell
I-
them what we
as I was
did. What
coming
just
in
happened?
to land.
Well, there was no declared launch or landing zone, and the time only started when you entered the course and exited the course. They never said where you had to get there or how to get there. So we drove way down there and took off from a road, which was perfect because it was a quiet road, perfectly legal, no-fly zones within any area. And we went to the course, did it, landed, and came back.
And we crushed it.
Want to bet? Because the road, there's no-fly zones on the road. If you stay on the highway, there's no fly. There is no-fly zones.
Jill says that you hit one when you were with her.
No, I didn't. With her? I didn't fly with her.
She said you passed her.
When? Well, you go watch my track. Go watch my track. I didn't break any no-fly zone on that whole flight. Not a single one.
Oh no, I thought I saw your glider go right into it.
Well.
Yeah, I should have gone with my first guess, which was 26. But that would be cutting it too close.
Sure.
Though I could have sped it up if I had to.
Well, if we've got a minute, we're gonna go take a pee. I got a full bladder. Ugh. Stay put though. We love having you on camera. Unless you got work to do on another task.
Not currently.
Yeah, playing the rules, huh?
Hey man, Coach K, I just followed what the man said, and he's the team leader. Followed my sponsor's team leader, and I think it was a good decision. I didn't want to be in the air waiting around. I want to get the course done, so why not drive around there, take advantage of a nice little quiet LZ on the road, and we both crushed the course. No penalties, I don't believe. And yeah, good morning. That's why I honked at you when we were rolling out.
I'm not really good at coming up with puns. Okay.
We do have one pilot left on the course, Guido. We don't expect him to be setting any course records, but he's going to complete the course, and he's going to have learned a lot in the course of that.
Looks like he just went through the exit gate, so he's officially off the track.
That's it. He's headed for home. All of our competitors have completed the course, so we are at the end of our speed run portion of the competition. It looks like we're going to be taking our paramotor skills to the bowling alley next. Time to strike a high-flying score.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like it. Yeah, I look forward to this bowling landing. The speed course was a blast, and we've all of us who competed, it was not too bad. So look forward to the next event.
Not too bad is not a glowing recommendation, but with the conditions we were starting out with, better than many folks had anticipated, and so they're happy with their flights, I think, overall. We'll just have to see how the times shake out.
Absolutely.
All right, back to you.